Okay, so today we're going to go over the way your candle burns and what does it mean. All right. I am taking my information off of a website called grove.ghoul.com, and the name of the blog is called The Candle Signs Dictionary. What does it mean when my candle does that? Okay. Now, obviously, it indicates in the very beginning that before you run to any kind of magical or spiritual meaning, take into account that it might be something perfectly natural. It says that it could be influenced by the length, like a high flame could be influenced by the length of the wick. Burning and seeing dark smoke could be an indication of high temperatures that are burning dyes that are in the candle. So it says here, black soot is the result of oils and colorants being exposed to high heat. A candle that suddenly goes out could be the sign of an unfriendly spirit or just a stiff breeze. So it's saying not everything is a sign. So just keep that in mind before you're burning your candle and you're trying to receive messages or you're trying to interpret the candle. Okay? So I'm going to place this one right here. Now we can already see several things going on with this one, right? It's got a bouncy flame. It's dancing all over the place. And you can see the black soot at the top. Okay, so I don't know if the forward-facing camera will allow you to see the flame, but see how it's moving around all over the place? Maybe you can see it here too. Almost like it's bobbing and weaving, bobbing and weaving, okay? So we'll focus on this candle while I'm reading you this stuff. Okay, so when you have a candle that burns clean and evenly, generally uneventful candle burnings are a good sign. When the candle burns without a lot of smoke, movement, noise, or dripping, your spell work is going as planned. The results will manifest as expected, though not perhaps as quickly and dramatically as you might like. Okay? When you have a tall, bright candle flame, there is a lot of energy behind your spell. Barriers to your success are quickly falling apart. A fast, happy result is likely. Okay? When you have a small, steady flame, very, very short, like here. A low burning flame indicates less energy is fueling the spell. The small but steady burning flame is still a good sign, though it signals a need for patience and focus. A positive result is likely, though there may be a delay. Be persistent and keep your eye on the goal. If the candle flame increases in size during the working, it means the energy behind the spell is growing. And then it says here, small, weak candle flame. Very, very tiny flame. A small flame that flickers and bends is not a great sign for candle magic. The timing of the work could be wrong, or you could be asking for an outcome that is unlikely or unfavorable in the long run. If the small flame falters or drowns in the melted wax, that is a sure sign that your petition will not be granted at this time. Okay. Then you have candle flame moves and dances, like this guy. An erratic dancing flame also signifies high energy in a spell, but also chaotic energy. A large dancing flame suggests success, but with potential complications. A small one means that the spell may be overwhelmed by opposing forces. So if it's doing this but smaller, that's what it says. It may be overwhelmed by opposing forces. Okay. There may be other wills consciously or unconsciously working against you. Watch the flame closely to see if its shape or motion reveals anything to you. Okay? Rapidly flickering candle flame. Sometimes a candle flame will dim and brighten, as if someone is flicking or light switch. In some folk magic traditions, a flickering candle flame is a certain indicator that spirits are present. If the candle is being used for devotional work, like with gods, angels, higher spirit guides, it means that the invocation was successful and your prayers are being acknowledged. A flickering candle flame is mildly trance-inducing, so you can use it as an opportunity to scry the fire for additional insight. Excuse me. Scry means to use it for divination. Try to find an image, try to find, meaning. That's what scrying is. Candle pops or sputters. A noisy candle indicates communication with or interference by outside forces. An uneven burn can signal that someone or something is working against you. Add more concentration and energy to the spell, or withdraw if you sense the resistance is too great. Hisses, sputters, and whistles are sometimes said to carry messages from the ancestors and spirits. Try listening to them and hearing what they say. If your flame suddenly goes out, the working is finished. A stronger opposing force has put an end to it. You should open this is if you're a Wiccan. You should open the circle, ground yourself, and leave it be. In other words, if it turns off, just know, it's done. Try to get yourself out of that meditative state and come back to planet Earth, and in whichever way that you can do that. Some people will eat to get themselves back down to this level. Usually it means that your petition or spell, whatever it may be, will not manifest. However, in some cases, it can mean that the objective of the working has already been attained. Like you already got it. If the flame will not extinguish. A candle flame that stubbornly stays lit means sit down, you're not done. Perhaps you skipped a step or missed some important message during your candle magic ritual. Some helpful spirit or guide is nudging you to go back for what you forgot. When you feel that it has been settled, try extinguishing the candle again. Traditionally, spell candles are pinched or snuffed out, never blown. Or snuff it out with something. But never. I blow them out all the time. I figure that's my essence. That's my energy blowing it out. But hey, that's me. Let's see. The candle will not light at all. The spell cannot help you win the result you seek. The outcome may have already been decided or be outside of your control. Take some time, days or weeks, to refocus your intention before trying again. You can do a divination instead to find out more about what is blocking you. Meditation and spiritual cleansing may be required before you can proceed with the spell. Burning candle makes a lot of smoke. Abundant smoke is not a good or bad sign. It indicates the element of air is present in the spell, the element of communication and observation. When a spell candle puts out a lot of smoke, you are being called upon to use your eyes and mind to read the situation. Look at the shape, color, timing, and movement of the smoke to gather helpful information about the working. Candle makes a puff of white smoke. White smoke is widely regarded to be a sign of blessings and benevolent spirits. If a candle breathes out a puff of white smoke, especially a significant moment, it means that your wish will be granted. Candle puts out clouds of black smoke. Dense black smoke coming from a ritual candle is thought to represent negative energy. Conflict, bad luck, and opposing purposes surround your spell work. Spend some time in prayer or meditation and do a cleansing ritual before proceeding with the working. If the candle smoke moves towards you, if the smoke from a ritual candle moves towards you, it portends success in attracting what you seek. For spells to draw love, money, or healing, this is a great sign. It means you will shortly achieve what you desire. The exception is for negative workings, curses, hexes, and tricks. If the candle smoke from a hexing candle moves towards you, or fills the room, it hints that you will not be able to escape responsibility from the effects of your magic. Candle smoke moves away from you. Smoke that moves dramatically away from you represents energies that are outward bound. In most spells, this is not a good omen. It means that something is escaping your grasp. However, in spells to heal, influence, and manipulate others, the traveling smoke can mean that the working is going as planned. Pay attention to the speed, direction, shape of the smoke to determine your magic is on track. The candle flame burns blue. If blue fire is a sign of spiritual presence, it is the color of angelic and the fairy fire. So, well, if that's what you believe in, you know. If a spell candle burns blue or blue-white, it is a sign that high spiritual beings have taken an interest in your magic. Red or yellow flame means that more mundane, meaning like more earthly, but still potentially powerful. The energy is fueling the spell. Burning candle forms a crater in the center, leaving wax on the sides. This would be for one of those candles that doesn't have glass. You know, it's just one of them regular candles. It's, you know, that it's talking about when it burns a hole down into the center, and then you still have the walls of the candle around it. This is most common with large pillars and container candles, but it can also happen with votives and other candle shapes. The melted wax is centered closely around the wick, leaving tall walls of wax on the sides. Nobody likes it when a candle burns incompletely, and it's not a good sign in magic either. It usually means that your will is too weak to cast an effective spell at the time, or that the spell's energies have been blocked from reaching their intended target. And then candle melts quickly into a puddle of wax. A quick burn. A candle that is not properly contained or leveled will often develop a hole in the side, causing melted wax to drip out quickly and shortening the life of the candle. Spending a candle quickly is not necessarily a bad sign. It can mean that there is a passionate, accelerated energy behind your spell. A pile of wax drippings is always an invitation to ceromancy, wax divination. Examine the hardened wax with an open mind, seeing if any shapes or messages emerge. There's a whole collection of folklore about what the various shapes mean, or you can just use your intuition. If the candle burns with no wax drips, and I've had that happen a lot, there's a sign of well-conceived and properly executed spell. It is also, I must say, a sign of a well-positioned and correctly sized wick. Your spell will go exactly as you have written and expressed it. The candle magic gods have no lesson for you today. Wax drips on one side only. Something is out of balance. Expect an incomplete result. Some say that drips on the left in relation to the magic worker represents an emotional or psychic imbalance, while drips on the right, your thoughts and beliefs are getting in the way of the spell. Black pieces appear in the melted wax, so little remnants of the wick in the wax. Candle crud, that's what they call. Sometimes little bits of burnt wick will break off and sink into the melted wax. Candle crud is a scientific term. Debris in the wax signifies unintended consequences to work that will need to be done after the spell is complete. Guilt, broken hearts, karmic baggage, new hassles, and so on. Usually it's not super serious, but not fun either. Proceed with the working, but be ready to do some cleanup afterward. Soot collects on the candle container. Soot is ash. Okay. It is rare for a tall jar candle to burn without any soot appearing on the candle. Magic workers read the amount and location of the soot to gather information about the success or failure of a working. Black soot is generally taken to be a sign of negative energy or interference within a spell working. If it appears only at the top of the jar, the opposition has most likely been overcome. If it covers the entire surface of the container, it means that the working has been thwarted and may need to be repeated. White soot is far rarer occurrence and is said to represent spiritual communication and assistance. Okay, so as you can see, I had no intention whatsoever with this candle. I just thought it looked really cool. And it's a health candle. I am currently sick. And so you see how it's hard to tell in this lighting, but the black is really only here and up. So we will see when the candle is burnt all the way to the bottom where the black is left. So when you see this one, you see black, and it's not automatically bad. It just means that you're fighting through obstacles. You know, you're burning away the roadblocks is what you're doing in this case. You know, so that's what this means. You see how it's kind of spotty? Yeah. Then again, I've never burned a gel candle before, but I'm assuming it's just like any other candle. But now you can see the flame has gotten a little bit lower, but it's still very dancing all over the place. Bobbing and weaving, bobbing and weaving. So what does that say according to this source? The bobbing and weaving is high energy, but it could be chaotic forces, meaning forces that you cannot control. Natural forces, like the way you cannot control the wind, the way you cannot control the water. No matter how much you try, that element is going to do what it's going to do. Okay, so think of it like that kind of force. This candle says to me, it's burning away an obstacle, but the forces that are helping me are forces that I cannot tame. So you're just going to have to take it as it comes. That's what that means to me. Okay, let's say a candle explodes or a container breaks or some other dramatic candle mishap. Fire safety. A dramatic ending to your candle burning ritual means the spell work has been vetoed by a greater power. Cleanse yourself and your ritual space and abandon the working until you have more information. And that's the end of the article. That was good information, huh? So yeah. Yes, reading candle wax is a whole other type of divination. Reading candle smoke is a type of divination. Reading the flame is a type of divination. And the flame and the smoke, I believe, are all part of a divination called pyromancy, which is reading fire. So, yeah. I have another candle burning, but it's private. But yeah, so we'll use this one as an example. I'm glad that the soot collected at the top. That way you can see it's nothing to really be too scared of. It's just a affirmation that you have obstacles, that you're having issues. And it's just confirming, hey, you know, you've got some roadblocks that you need to get past. And you know, I gotta say this, at the end of the day, you can't rely solely on the spirit and your working to fix everything. You also have to get your hands dirty and you have to fix these things yourself. And that's where that saying comes from, God helps those who help themselves. You have to put in the work too. Okay? So this, when you do stuff like this, when you do like candle magic and that sort of thing, this helps because it gets the message out there, but also you have to do the work too. I just want you guys to know that, you know, not everything is solved by just lighting a candle. You have to take the steps as well. Okay. Let me see what else. The way the candles burn, I think it pretty much went over everything. So yeah, like don't read the candle when you first light it, because when you first light it, like the first 2 minutes or so, the candle flame still has to settle. It's going to do what it's going to do after a couple of minutes. So don't read it right when you light it. Wait a couple of minutes, okay? And don't be so gung-ho on what you necessarily read off of the glass like this when it's halfway burnt. Don't read the glass and the soot right off the bat. Wait till it gets to the bottom. You're going to have to wait till you see everything, because you're going to see a collection of wax and you're going to see some soot, or you may just see a clear candle glass like this. You know, it'll just be clear. Like you can see little wax remnants right here from where the wax would burn and then stop, and then burn and then stop. Looks kind of trippy, huh? You see the little... See, you can read this if you want to as an image. Like, what do you see right there? What does that mean to you? See, that's why, I don't know, these candles with the images is cool and everything, but if you're going to read the wax that's left over on the glass, these images just get in the way, in my opinion. You know? But, you know, to me, the way the wax is formed on the candle, it just looks to me like, you know, just things melting away. You know, I don't see anything bad. I just see it as, I mean, this candle had a good burn. It was a steady flame. There was no, obviously you don't see any soot, any black soot or any white soot. It was kind of slow. It was a medium-sized to low flame. So that means that when this candle was burning, the progress was going to come eventually, but it's going to take some time. It's going to be, it was going to happen in the order that it's going to happen in. Like there was no rush. Okay, so in other words, the wills behind this candle, they were good. They were steady and persistent. But it wasn't like high energy. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But the way you see these little drip marks, when I see the little drip marks, I think, let me see if I can show you. You see them? When I see drip marks, I think of things melting away. Whatever you were burning the candle for, I think about it as melting away. That's what I see when I see that wax. You could interpret it as somebody crying. You could interpret it as water, like washing things away. You could interpret it as blood because it looks like it's dripping. It all depends on how you interpret that. Because this in particular, reading wax, is all about seeing images. It's about, like, okay, like, you know, when you were little and you would look up at the clouds, oh, you know, if that's what you did, you would look at something and then you would likely see, I don't know, like an animal or a face or something. You saw something different from me, you know, so it's up for that person's interpretation. It helps when you know what the person is asking and you can use that image as a base to get a better interpretation. But yeah, it's in the eye of the beholder, essentially. So I hope this helped you. I hope that it gave you some answers as to the burn of your candles, because somebody posted this as a comment the other day and asked me to make this video. And I think it's a really good idea because of all of you that are burning petition candles and that are burning spell candles. Let me also tell you something else for everybody that's watching. For those of you that are just coming into this, it's a big learning curve, guys. You're not going to learn everything overnight. When you're coming into this, a lot of us that came into this, it just happened. You know, we had to get over our fears, and, you know, once we did, we were extremely grateful because Santa Muerte was not a spirit that we thought she was. You know, she was actually very motherly and not that evil demon, you know, that people perceive her to, that people project her to be on TV. But in coming into starting to do even just devotional work, a lot of times, you know, tradition would have us bring in these type of tools, So I would suggest, that besides, sharing this information with you guys in these videos, that you go online, and look up herb correspondences. Look up color correspondences. Form your own opinion. Look up types of candles. What's the best kind of candle to use? Look up what certain oils mean. What certain whatever tool you're working with, go online and look up the various types of correspondences. Say you went and you bought an oil and you're using that oil to put a little bit in your candle, and you're like, I just bought it because it smelled good. But say you bought lavender. Go and look up magical correspondences of lavender, and you'll be surprised to what you find. Look up magical correspondences of copal, or of rue, or of basil, or of rosemary, or of aloe, or roses, whatever, Educate yourself a little bit more on the practice part, Yes, we're here to learn about her, but let's be realistic. A good portion of her devotees practice this. And if you're a new devotee, likely you're interested, and you have a whole background to learn, not only of her, but of how her practice is laid out. You can't just, and guys, what it is it's magic. It's magic on one hand, brujeria on the other, and that's a practice that you cannot learn overnight. If you want to look up some brujeria books, I'm pretty sure there are some out there. They're likely going to be in Spanish, okay? But for the English speakers, go get a Wicca book. Seriously, I'm being serious. Get a Wicca 101 book, and it will tell you all the basics that you need to know, and you will notice, a lot of that corresponds to everything that I'm doing. And it'll make a lot of sense, because a Wiccan is going to practice the same basics that we as her devotees practice. A lot of magic in general, folk magic, is at its core, a lot of it's the same. You're dealing with elements, you're dealing with colors, you're dealing with herbs, you're dealing with oils, you're dealing with stones, you're dealing with, some of us even deal in bones and in blood and animals and, all kinds of stuff, So, yeah, my best advice is, if you're still very confused about these practices, go buy a Wicca book. It'll tell you all the basics you need to know. You don't even have to buy it. Look it up online. Wicca resources. Look up free PDFs and go download one, and it'll tell you exactly what we've been saying in these videos. Now, the color correspondences may be a little bit off, but the rest is essentially the same. And that's why I had a learning curve when I first got into this, because I was already practicing when I met her. So I already had a background. I had already been I had studied Wicca for like a year before I jumped into anything else. So that's how I knew automatically what to do, So yeah, that's a good source of information. It'll give you a lot of background, because a lot of it is folk magic. And just take it from there. And a lot of this will make sense. So I think that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I would like to shamelessly promote myself real quick. I'm still taking petitions if you're interested. And I'm actually working on making more types of candles available to the public. One will be, like, say for example, I would just get your basic one color candle as a petition, you know, add all of the stuff that we need to add and go from there. The next one, I can make multicolored, you know, add all the stuff you need to add and go from there. Then the next one, I was interested in making like a candle kit, which is something, you know, it's a loaded candle. It's got everything it's got to have in it, but it comes with extras that it's basically got added details, you know, that you add in as your candle is burning to help manifest what you want to manifest. Okay? And so with those, I was thinking, you know, the basic candle, you know, I was ranging everything from $13 to $26 because 26 is double 13. You know, so the candle kit, I was thinking of making it like $25 or something like that because it is fully loaded, you know, and it's sitting on the altar for 24 hours before I even ship it, you know, or before I even give it to you. And with the extra stuff, it's taken from my personal stash, you know, from my personal stuff around here, around the house. It's not something that I just went to the store and went to go buy. No, I grew it in my yard, and I'm, you know, putting it as part of the package. You know, everything that I use in these candles is taken from my own backyard. So it was grown with love, with time, with patience, and everything. So it's got full intent in it. So anyway, and like I said, I place it on the altar for like a good 24 hours before, or, you know, or good, at least a good 12 hours before I even send it out. So, more on that later, but, yeah, I hope you guys took something from this video and opened those Wicca books, you know, to learn some basics on basic magic, because you will need that when you're working with her. I mean, unless your work is purely devotional and you're not asking for nothing and you're not trying to achieve nothing, then that's different. That's just essentially, you know, the basics: lighting candles, giving her offerings, what she needs, and communication with her. And that's fine. But if you're wanting to work with her to achieve something, yeah, go get a Wicca book or a Wicca PDF for free online. There's a ton of them, guys. There's a ton of them. Look for there's Wiccan herb correspondences, and then there's Wiccan candle correspondences. There's Wiccan basics of magic. Just Google it, guys. It's out there, and you can get it for free. You don't have to spend no money. Okay? Well, I hope you weren't bored during this video, and I'll see you next time.